All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Chronicles of a Virgo podcast. And as usual, I'm your favorite Virgo host, Shakita Johnson. And what's up, y'all? What is up? As you lovely people can see, I have another lovely guest. Not only is she a guest, but she is also a Virgo. Hey, Team Virgo.
Yes.
I have the lovely Miss Leanne joining me today from the Watch Us Thrive podcast, which is an amazing podcast, which we are going to get into all of that today. So thank you guys for joining me back for another episode. How you doing today, girl?
I'm good. I've been waiting for this recording to happen. It's been a few weeks and I had the pleasure of having you on my podcast. Your episode hasn't come out yet, but it will soon. And I just love your vibe. I love our conversations and I'm just like, oh, I could talk to you all day. So thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. And yes, I did have the opportunity to record with Leanne, and it was something. It was a very good conversation, very good
Mhm.
energy. It led me to further healing in my own healing journey and therapy. So she don't even know that, but now she know.
Oh my gosh. Don't make me cry, girl.
Yes, but you guys, keep your eyes open because when she drop it, I'm gonna repost it and all that stuff. But y'all should be following her by that time anyway. So
Okay.
but like I said, we're gonna get into some things today. But before we get started, we got to start off with our lovely mental health check. So, Miss Leanne, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being, I feel good. I feel like I'm in a really good space right now. 1 being, I'm not feeling the best. There's some room for porn, but I'll figure it out. Where do you rate your mental health on a scale of 1 to 5?
If you asked me this question a year ago today, because we are recording on Valentine's Day, it would have been a one because your girl was not okay last year. I'm gonna just keep it all the way 100. You already know how I am. Like, I have no filter. I keep it all the way raw and real in the best way possible. But honestly, and I did a little bit of self reflection today, it has been a complete 180 when it comes to my mental health, especially around this holiday. Yeah, I would say that I'm a five. Like, I had an amazing fucking day today, and I was intentional about that. I took myself out on a date, a solo date, went to lunch, had a bomb ass lunch, bought myself some flowers you could see in the background,
Hey.
bought some flowers for my daughter, got some chocolate, got some candies. I got my Sour Patch right here that I'm gonna enjoy. And I just took some really intentional time to be with myself and to celebrate the season that I'm in. So actually, today was a great fucking day. But like I said, if you would have asked me last year, girl, I was not okay.
Yes, thank you for your vulnerability and
Yeah.
getting into all that. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure someone is listening that appreciates your realness, your rawness. I already knew it was coming, so I'm just like, I'm gonna let this go.
Yes.
Um, so I definitely get it, being around the holiday time, whether people consider this a holiday or not. I think it is one,
Hmm.
even though we should celebrate love every day,
Every day.
whether it's
Yes.
ourselves, family, whatever. It's definitely something that should be celebrated. So my mental health on a scale of 1 to 5 today is probably going to be at a 4. I'm gonna say a 4, and it's haven't been there in a long time,
Mm,
but I am still in the process of moving.
yes.
Y'all probably like, why is it taking you so long to move? Because it is.
Right. Mind your business.
Yes, but it's my business. But I should be done prayerfully this weekend. So.
Mhm.
But yes, I'm in the process of moving, and moving is just a journey in itself, and just trying to do work and just life.
Girl, can we talk about that real quick? Like,
Yes,
moving is fucking traumatic, y'all.
it
Okay. And
is.
I'm gonna make it seem that dramatic because it is that dramatic. Moving, like, yo, when I moved from New Jersey to Florida before I came back,
Mhm.
that shit was like such a mental mind fuck, like
Yeah.
you're literally uprooting your life and starting over. And there's so many emotions that come with that. So, girl, I'm sending you so much love. I get it. I
Mhm.
understand you completely.
And it's not, it's all of that. And thanks for the love. It's all of that. And it's not the idle situation. When I say
Mhm.
idle, it's the situation of choice. So sometimes
Right.
in life, we're placed in situations where we have to like we have no choice but to go this way or that way. And
Mm,
unfortunately I had to go in a direction I did not want to go in.
yeah,
So it's just making this whole full transition and trying to still remain sane in a sense.
absolutely.
Um, prepare for this new journey, this new beginning, because I believe it's going to be all that, but I need to actually get out of where I'm at to that point, and it's just a
Hmm.
lot. I
Yes,
kind of chose to do this by myself, which is probably like part of why it's taking me so long,
right.
only part of why. Partially doing this by myself, but it is also releasing different emotions and feelings and letting go of a lot of different things, you know.
Hmm. I feel you, girl. That in between part is like probably the most uncomfortable. Like you see where you want to be, but you're not there yet, and you're still trying to do the work to get there. But then all the shit that comes in between, like that's a season that I'm definitely in right now when it comes to my whole podcast and my brand and just trying to level up. So I feel you, girl. We all going through it.
Girl, I've been watching you keep up the good work. I was like,
Thank
okay,
you.
flowers and lunch and gym and all this good stuff.
Yes.
You know, but it's like it's refreshing watching other people do things. And I'm not saying that I don't do any of those things.
Yeah.
I don't take enough pictures and I don't record enough. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't and I should savor those moments so you
Hmm.
can look back and be like, yes, like I did this throughout the
Yes.
year or whatever the case may be. Um, but it's just refreshing seeing women up to the plate to really take care of themselves and love
Yes.
themselves and be like, hey, I don't need nobody to take me on a date. I can do that myself.
Okay.
You know, I don't need nobody to send me flowers. I can do it myself.
Okay. Miley Cyrus made a whole song about it. Okay.
Literally, like it's trending on Twitter right
Yes.
now. Not Twitter, TikTok
TikTok.
right
Yes.
now. But yeah, it's like, you know, it's just stepping into a new independence also.
Mhm.
And within that, it's uncomfortable, which we're going to get into all of that during
Yes.
this lovely discussion because it's like, how do you fight the comfortability?
Mm. Come
You
on.
know? So as we're getting started, Leanne, can you please tell everyone that's listening a little bit about who is Miss Leanne? I'm saying
Yes.
Miss, like making you old, but you're not even
Girl, I mean, I am in my 30s, but god damn, no. Just playing.
old.
Oh my God. Well, again, before I even get started with talking about myself, because I talk about myself a lot and I get fucking annoying sometimes to myself. But thank you so much for having me here. I love your energy since we connected. I don't even know how me and you connected, but it just happened the way it was supposed to. And I'm just so grateful to be in the presence of another badass Virgo. Like you already know the vibe, sis.
Hey, feeling is mutual. Love, the feeling is
Yes.
mutual.
Yes. So for hi everyone who's meeting me for the first time, my name is Leanne. I am the creator and host of the Watch Us Thrive podcast. It's my baby. It's my pride and joy. It turned a year old on January 1st of 2023. And it's a podcast that's really going to just help you find your inner magic. I'm all about talking about mental health, talking about toxic relationships, overcoming traumas, a lot of things that I've experienced myself, and also the people who have come on my show also talk about their own life experiences and how they've been able to turn their pain into power and their trauma into triumph. I do like to have uncomfortable conversations around a lot of taboo topics that it's very hush hush, but we're all going through something. We all have trauma. We all have a story to tell. And my platform and my brand is really trying to showcase that in the most healing way possible. I don't really like to focus a lot on the negative, but we do talk about it. But more importantly for me, I'm trying to be a voice for the voiceless and really showing people that what you've gone through, no matter how big or small it is, it's a part of your story, but it doesn't need to be your end all be all. It doesn't need to be the only thing about you. And for
Mhm.
me, a huge part of my story is I'm a survivor of domestic violence. It's going on 2 years actually. The 2 year anniversary is coming up in March, and that pivotal moment of going through a really life changing, life altering, ground shaking experience, it really put me in a place to start really taking my mental health and my personal development seriously, because that was something that was so lacking for all of my adult life. Growing up, never had conversations around mental health or my feelings or anything like that, which is super common, especially in our communities of color. And, going through that life experience 2 years ago almost, that was really the beginning journey of Lianne finding out who is she really by herself.
Mhm.
I've been such a codependent partner when it came to the relationships, romantic, that I found myself in. And I got to the point that I was like, yo, enough is enough. Something has got to change. And I'm sure we're going to get into that as the conversation progresses. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm just a real ass girl from New Jersey who's trying to change the world.
Real and it's give up on you.
Hey.
Yes, but thank you for that. Thank you. Your
Yeah.
story is, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna use the word phenomenal because I
Thank you.
appreciate and idolize anybody that can go from just any type of traumatic experiences, such as domestic violence or anything for that nature,
Yeah.
and turn it around. And not only turn it around for the better, but create some type of platform or something that is also helping and encouraging other people to do the
Yes.
same for themselves.
Hmm.
My mom is a domestic violence survivor, and literally up until recently is the first time I've ever seen her post about it, talk about it. Like
Mm.
I witnessed it with her. I was a part of the abuse with her, you
Yeah.
know, and I know that it's a lot, there's a lot that you deal with after the fact. So shout out to you for continuing to do
Yes.
the work and be better
Thank
and
you.
standing your purpose.
Thank
What,
you.
of course, which takes us more into the conversation about being able to reclaim your voice and step into your purpose. So, and let me just piggyback real quick before I forget this point.
Hmm.
When you spoke about your podcast, one thing that I really appreciate about your podcast is the fact that you bring people on from different communities that talk about their backgrounds and stuff. Because I've been in different communities around different genders, races, all of those things, but never really had those conversations about like growing up. More, you hear more about it now, but like a
Hmm.
lot of the ladies that you bring on are like from like the Latina community, and I'm like, okay, I need to listen. Like it's interesting the similarities that
Hmm.
we've had, especially when it comes to mental health.
Yes.
Those things were not discussed, and now as we're older, we're like, man, if these things were discussed back in the day, they would have made a huge difference in our lives
Hmm.
now. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
not shaming anybody's parents or anybody's upbringing or nothing like that,
Yeah.
because our parents were only raising us according to how their parents raised them. And it was just like, for my family, it was a lot of pride.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's definitely common in all communities, but I see it a lot more in our communities. I'm of Puerto Rican descent, but I was born in the States. Both of my parents were born in Puerto Rico, and they came to the mainlands for, a better life.
Mhm.
But, it's having these conversations for me, and I know you can relate too, like it was not a topic of discussion. Like whatever happens at home, it stays at home. You don't gossip to other people because, people like to talk a lot. And, that's a very toxic narrative to have that we have carried. And now we're trying to be like the generational trauma cycle breakers. Bitch, it's fucking hard, okay?
Hard, hard.
It's hard as fuck, like, and like you said, we can't knock our parents and their parents and the ancestors before that because they only knew what they knew, and they did not have the resources and the availability that we have today. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like when it comes to mental health, when it comes to, domestic violence resources, whatever it is that you're trying to heal from, like this day and age, while the internet can be a fucking horrible place if that's how you intend to show up in it, it can
Mhm.
also be such a beautiful healing place. And for me, with my brand, like I have found such a beautiful community of women and men online that understand, like, damn, I'm not alone in these feelings that I'm having,
Mhm.
So that's why I think it's so important for us to have these conversations. And, if we are going to be the ones to take on that load to break the cycle, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm a single mom. I have an almost 14-year-old. I'm so open and honest with her. She knows about everything that I've gone through. And that's not something that I had growing up with my mom. I live at home right now and I love the relationship that me and my mom have, but at the same time, it's very challenging because our communication level is just not where I wish it was. And I can't change a 60 something year old who's stuck in her ways. You know what I'm saying? So I can take her for how she is, take my dad for how he is, and just try to navigate that. But yo, I'm fucking tired sometimes, man.
Listen, I literally told somebody last week, like, we need to cop some checks
Okay.
for this healing. Like,
Yes.
we need it's like a full-time job, like a
Okay.
salary, you know?
Yes.
But at the end of the
With no
day,
benefits.
none. None. But I mean, the one benefit is like just living the life that you deserve
Yes.
once you realize your worth. So,
Exactly.
what was the pivotal moment? And this takes us into our conversation
Hmm.
when you realized that you were being silenced or you didn't have a voice for yourself and you had to find your voice.
Mm.
What was that moment for you?
I mean, truth be told, I think growing up, I was always the type of kid that I can remember, especially in my teenage years, like just a shy kid, not really wanting to be seen, you know, looking at everyone else and like, damn, I wish I could be like that, but never really having the confidence within myself to be that or
Mhm.
be something like that. And, that lack of confidence definitely traveled with me in my adult life. And I realize now, being on my personal development journey, that that lack of not having any value within me was one of the reasons why I attracted such toxic partners when it came to my romantic relationships. And the pivotal moment for me was my last relationship, the one that I literally escaped from. It was the night of March 12th, 2021 into the early morning of March 13th, 2021. And I have the full story from start to finish on my podcast. If y'all want to check it out, I can link it to you and you can put in the show notes. It's episode 10.
Mhm.
But it was that moment when my ex-boyfriend literally threatened to kill me, put a knife to my neck, strangled me multiple times to the point that I almost passed out and I pissed on myself, threatened to kill my family. Like the violence that happened to me that night was the moment that I knew, like, if I don't escape, I'm going to be another statistic that you see on the news of someone who succumbed to the abuse in their relationship. And we see that shit way too fucking common nowadays.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was a combination of like my female intuition, God. I know God was with me that night. I believe in God, whoever anyone believes in. But for me, I believe in God. And I had my angels with me that night. And he
Mhm.
just knew, like, sis, it is not your time. And I need you to start listening to me because I've been telling you over and over and over. And not just this relationship, but the ones before that, like, you got some work to do because you don't know what it means to love yourself. You're
Mhm.
looking for this validation in other people when you really need to be focusing on finding that within you. And, you know, hitting that rock bottom moment, I know that I'm coming off as very confident now and I'm able to talk about it very openly now. But in that moment, in that beginning moment when I escaped and I came back home, lost my apartment, I got fired from my job, my unemployment ran out, my car completely died the minute I got back home. I moved back in with my family. Like I literally was broken. And a lot of people don't like to use that word broken, but a bitch was
Mhm.
fucking broken. Okay. I was
Mhm.
legit like starting from zero, had nothing. And for me, speaking up and telling people what had happened, because when I was in that relationship, no one knew what was going on. I portrayed it that like we were the perfect couple. And if you saw us online, like that was my Prince Charming. But behind closed doors, I was being verbally abused. I was being physically abused. Like I was being lied to and cheated on and manipulated and gaslit and all these things that come in those relationships, but nobody knew
Right.
because I was so ashamed and so afraid and so guilty that like, damn, another one, another shitty relationship that I attracted. And when I came back home and people finally knew what was going on, that's when the help really started. That's where the growth began, when I finally used my voice to speak up and say, I'm not okay.
Right. Ooh, girl, girl, girl.
Yes. Let's take a minute. I know
Ooh.
that's a lot.
You know, stories hit different when you hear people that you are like either you know personally or you develop
Mm-hmm.
a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
Things hit so much different, you
Yeah.
know? And for starters, like I know I don't have to say it, but I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
That person didn't deserve you clearly, but I'm so sorry you went through all that.
Thank you.
Like I'm so sorry. But on the flip side, I'm so glad to see you A still alive and thriving
Yes.
and you're helping other people thrive. You know, it takes time though. Like healing from anything takes time, especially something
Girl.
like that, you know, and you never know. Like sometimes I feel like we think, because I go through this too, like you feel like you have healed so much from a person or a situation, and then something pops up and you're like, why am I still, why is it still
Yes.
affecting me? You know what I'm saying? Like a certain day, a time, and you just, to me, I keep all that stuff in because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel stupid because I feel like I shouldn't be feeling like this. Like it's all these
Absolutely.
years later. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and I'm gonna ask this because, like, again, like my mom is a domestic violence survivor. One of her ex boyfriends used to beat her. He used to beat me. He was just like very angry.
Mm.
Um, how did you protect your daughter? Or like have you, I know you said you're like really open with her about
Mhm.
everything. Um so like what type of like behaviors and things do you model for her being
Yeah.
that if she's seen you go through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my situation was a little different because before I had met my ex-boyfriend, I was living here in New Jersey and I got a job opportunity in Florida. So that's how I ended up in Florida.
Okay.
And I was in an 8.5 year long relationship before the last one. Long story short, that relationship finally ended, which was also very fucking toxic. But I moved to Florida by myself and my daughter stayed here with my family. And eventually, like once I got situated and I found a good school for her and I knew the area more, then I was going to send for her to come with me. But that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
my dad ended up breaking his leg in August of 2020. Don't even ask me how that fucking happened, but that happened. And my daughter ended up having to fly down to Florida because my mom had to handle my dad. So I met my ex-boyfriend April of 2020. My daughter came down September of 2020, and she only stayed with me until January of 2021. So those 4 months that she was with me, luckily, thank God, the physical abuse didn't start until after she left, but she was around to hear the arguments. I was living in a one small ass bedroom apartment. The walls are paper thin. She heard everything. She heard the fights. She was just around that energy. And I know that really fucked her up. And when I came back home in March of 2021, and I told her everything, we had a really, really real ass conversation, probably one of the realest ones that we've ever had. And she told me straight up, she was like, Mom, I thought I was going to lose you, and that would have killed me. And she was 12 years old at the time. Yeah, because she's 13 now. 12, I think, somewhere around there. She was a preteen. And, you know, like I said before, I didn't have a very open and honest relationship with my mom growing up. That's definitely happened later on in life. Like now I can talk to my mom about anything, but I knew that that was something that had always wanted growing up. And me being a single mom, like really, I'm the only person that she got. Her father is not in the picture. He signed away his rights. He disappeared after she turned 2. Don't if he could be alive or dead, I have no fucking idea. Nor do I want to know. That's another conversation for another day. But but I really pride myself on letting her know everything. And I know that's it may be controversial for some parents, but mind your fucking business because I'm going to parent my daughter the way that I want to. And I think I think she appreciates. I know I always got to put a joke when I'm talking about something serious. That's my coping mechanism. But anyway,
Mhm.
um, I really pride myself in letting her know like the real shit. Like there's a lot of scary, weird ass people out here. And I'm going to let you know the things that I've gone through because hopefully I can't control her, but hopefully she can learn from my mistakes and be like, you know what? My mom went through something like this. I don't want to deal with that. So let me do something different.
Right.
And that's really how I pride myself in the relationship that I have with her. Like she knows everything. I told her every single thing. We have such honest conversations all the time, and it has gotten to the point that she tells me all the time, like, Mom, you're my best friend. Like I feel like I can trust you. I can't wait to talk to you. Like today she texted me, she's like, I can't wait till I come home because I got so much tea to spill to you. And I just love that relationship. Like, yeah, that's my daughter, but she's also like, that's my plus one for life, like
Right.
that's my bestie right there. And I think she really does appreciate how honest I am. But also at the same time, like I'll be checking her when she needs to be checked. You know what I'm
I
saying?
believe
Especially
it.
a 13-year-old. I mean, I know the shit that I did to my parents when I was that age. So everything that I did to them is coming back tenfold.
That's what they
But
say.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm still figuring the shit out one day at a time, but I think I'm doing a damn good job.
Amen. And yeah, that's I think that's crucial to realize, like, you know what? I gotta take this a day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't rush the process. Like
Nope.
things are gonna happen when they're gonna happen, how they're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? All I
Yep.
can do is like maintain my sanity and everything to get to that point.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
how do you think, or how did you heal from like being voiceless? And I say that because some people never come out of that, because it's a mindset, really. They never
Mm-hmm.
come out of that. They never come out of that mindset,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't find the worth in themselves to develop their true
Yes.
voice, right?
Mm. Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
people think, because people be hating on us Virgos all the time. They think they
Okay.
they be hating out here in these streets. I don't know what's going on. But they one thing that I always hear people that say, "Oh my God, I love Virgos," is y'all are so outspoken. Like y'all say what's on your mind, how y'all feel. Little do they know, a lot of us, it's not always been that way.
No, absolutely not.
So how did you get to the point of healing to be like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do, because I ain't gonna be silenced no more.
Yes. The short answer is I was tired of my own shit. Period.
I wish I had like a bell or something.
I know, right? No, seriously. And anytime anyone asks me, like, how did it start? How did you get started? The first step in really healing and taking this personal development journey seriously, you got to take accountability. Like, for me, I do the word of the year. Some people love it, some people hate it. I fucking love it. Mind your business. For 2022, the word of the year for me was accountability. And what is accountability? It's really taking ownership for the role that you play in your life and the situations that you find yourself in, the relationships that you attract, all of these things. And it doesn't just need to be romantic. Your workplace, your family, your friends, all that shit. For me, looking in the mirror, sitting down and realizing this is my third relationship that has been physically abusive. It's been toxic as fuck. It's not going anywhere. I'm finding myself miserable. I'm getting cheated on again. I'm getting disrespected. All of these things keep happening. Is it really them or is it me?
And that's the
And
hard part.
that's the hard part that people don't want to do at
Hmm.
all. And it's uncomfortable, but that is where the change can begin. And I'm not saying it that like I deserved what happened to me, because absolutely not. I wouldn't wish my experience or what you've gone through on anyone. You know what I'm saying? Not even on my worst enemy, not even on my ex, the person who fucking almost killed me. But it's to say that like I played a role in attracting that toxicity. And I was toxic too. I'm gonna admit that Leanne had some shit, and she probably still does have some things about her that she got to work on. You know,
Mhm.
they say healing isn't linear and there's ebbs and flows, and it's very cliche, but it's true. This
Mhm.
healing journey is never ending, and anyone who says I'm healed, they're full of shit. Don't believe them. They're trying to scam you out your money. Keep it fucking moving because clearly they don't know who the fuck they are.
I
But
always say it's always something to like once you feel like you've healed from something, that's
life is
fine.
always life in.
There's always going to be something else that may
Yes.
come up.
Absolutely. And that comes with the journey. But the first step for me, there was two steps. It was taking the accountability, realizing that I had, you know, a role, not the entire role, but a role in what had happened and what I was attracting. And then two, realizing that I didn't need to heal by myself. You
Mm.
know, as us Virgos, we're loners, okay? We like our solitude. We like to feel
Peace.
like, yes, and we feel like I could handle it. I could do it all on my own. I don't need help. But when it came from something so traumatic like my life almost being taken away from me,
Mhm.
I knew that I needed professional help to help me heal from that. So, what did that look like for me? I worked with two life coaches and I worked with a therapist. Shout out to Dr. Lambert. Every time I talk about him, I have to shout him out because he literally helped me so much in finding my voice and speaking up and saying what I went through and then learning how to heal from it. And it's been a journey, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, it's only been 2 years. If you would have asked me this question 2 years ago, it would be a completely different person in front of this mic. There wouldn't even be a fucking mic, honestly. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But it's just been little by little, just slowly trying to peel back those layers and go to that really uncomfortable, dark shadow that we all have within us and start to heal that.
Mhm.
This is like a therapy session, girl.
It is. See, this is what happens when you get some real Virgos in the room. You feel
Hmm.
me? I don't know who y'all been out there dealing with, but this is how real Virgos handle stuff.
Yes.
Um, it's funny you say that because like I like briefly here and there talk about like my last breakup or whatever, just because unfortunately it's still something that I am healing from. And that's what I
Yeah.
meant earlier about sometimes you feel like you should be over something, but boom, you're really not. And it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine because there's no timeline on any of this. However, my best friend Jessica, shout out to Jess, who is another lovely Virgo.
Yes.
Like when I was like down to my lowest at that point, like it was my lowest. Like I had just probably attempted my last suicidal attempt at that point.
Mm.
She had held my hand and like walked me through this whole process of accountability. The worst time,
Yes.
to talk about it, but
Yeah.
it was helpful. But I learned to have my sit in your shit moments. That's what I call them or whatever. It helps you validate your feelings. Whatever you're
Hmm.
going through, like sit in it. Like cuz like you said, we like to try to figure things out soon as it happened. And
Yep.
in that split moment, we think we have to have all the answers right then and there.
Hmm.
However, sit in your shit moments, you sit in it. Give yourself a couple hours, maybe a couple of days.
Yeah.
But the key is you going to get up. Like you have to get up and move forward.
Yes.
Even if you don't have all the answers, one of the answers is getting up and moving forward.
Hmm.
And
Girl.
within within that moment, the accountability, I would be like, bro, like it was a huge realization for me because I'm like, okay, yes, maybe I did play a part, but
Right.
it's always the but, and it's like it's not real if you saying but
Hmm.
you do realize the true meaning of accountability and how to me, accountability helps you get to the point of forgiveness, not
Yes.
necessarily forgiving that person or people, whatever, yet, but really forgiving yourself because
Yes.
it can be a little conflicting. You know what I'm saying? Girl, I'm still, like you said, I'm still going through it, still growing through it or whatever. Like
Yes.
healing is linear.
Mm.
So talk to me a little bit on why you think, because I hear you talk about this a lot. Um, Speaking up for yourself can empower your whole healing journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being a survivor of domestic violence, it's not something that I saw growing up. You know, my parents, they're going to be celebrating, I think they're either 42nd or 43rd wedding anniversary in 2 weeks.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Shout out to them. That shit is unheard of nowadays, right? So, like in my home growing up, of course, you know, couples are going to have arguments, but I never saw violence. I never saw disrespect. I never heard my dad call my mom a bitch or my mom call my dad an asshole. Like it was never like that. And I I felt so alone because I didn't know what domestic violence was. I didn't know anyone in my friend group who experienced that. And I just felt like, oh my God, no one fucking understands what I'm going through. And that's why when I was in it, I was so scared to speak up. But as I went on my personal development journey and working with life coaches and working with Dr. Lambert, I started my podcast to initially talk about what I went through, not just with that, but just life experiences in general. I've been through a lot of shit and I like to focus on the relationship aspect. And when I started speaking up, the feedback that I got from people that I knew in my real life and then strangers online who are reaching out, like globally, it was
Hmm.
wild that people were saying, like, oh my God, me too.
Hmm.
And it was in that moment, I was like, wait, I'm not alone. Other
Hmm.
people are really going through this shit too. Other people have trauma too. And I mean, that was really the birth of why I started my podcast, initially to share my story, but then I started connecting with people like yourself who came on and just told their own life experiences and just helped others feel less alone. And I feel like I have a duty. That's how I see it. I survived that night for a reason. Like my purpose was born that night, and I have it, like it's a necessity for me to talk about it and to have this brand and to bring people on to also share their own life experiences, to know like, yo, you are not alone in the feelings that you felt, because I understand. I felt that way too. Like, I see you, sis. I see you, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's really just my whole purpose behind it. Is like, we all have stories to tell. We all got shit that we're trying to heal from. And I want us to normalize talking about it, because we don't need to continue suffering in silence, especially us, like communities of color. That shit is so lacking, you know, those resources, that comfortability to speak up and to say, yo, I'm not okay. No one is fucking okay, you know, all the time in their life. And I really just want to be one of the many platforms out there that is normalizing the shit, to let you know, yo, you are not alone and it is okay. And we're here to listen and to help you feel seen and heard, and most importantly, like, understood.
Yeah, it's a moment of processing.
Yeah.
It took me back to a time where when I had came out about my sexual abuse, and when my mother did, and it's not, and I've talked about this briefly. My
Mhm.
mom, my family does not talk about it. It's still kind of one of the things that's just like, if
Yeah.
you talk about it, that's okay because that's your story to tell.
Right.
But it's a lot of, I think, kind of like guilt and shame and stuff. So me
Yeah.
speaking on anything is not to ever make any of them feel any type of way
Hmm.
or none of that. This is my truth. And have learned, I'm still learning to not be ashamed to talk about different things, because just like
Yes.
you, I felt like I was the only one. I was young, first of all. So I was like, no one else have probably ever experienced. I would never want that. Unfortunately, tons
Right.
of people have experienced sexual abuse.
Yep.
And one thing that my mom always told me was my story was going to help other people. And I'm like, well, how are they going to find out? Because I'm not about to go tell all these
Yep.
people what happened to me. And for years, like I would only mention it, but I never would have ever thought that I would have a platform like my own
Yeah.
and talk about it, but then go talk on it, talk to other people about it on other platforms. Sometimes it does still get me choked up. It doesn't mean I'm not like over it or healed from certain things, but it's just the fact that somebody wants to really hear my story.
Right.
Like my like you said that night your purpose was born. I feel like when I clicked on the microphone and I started talking about my story, which was just a year ago, my purpose was born.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever felt like this before, like you were just like living life purposeless, but not knowing
Yes.
that you needed a purpose in life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely, girl. I'm telling you. Yo, since I started working, honestly, I worked in these dead end fucking jobs, being overworked and underpaid, but I would just stay because I was comfortable. And I would be in these relationships knowing that they were not serving me, but we were together for so long, or I had a kid with him. So I'm gonna just stay with him because it's comfortable. And I wasted, that's my dog. I'm so sorry. He's crying at the door.
I'm surprised you ain't hear my
Um,
neighbor's dog.
oh my God. He's so fucking needy. Oh my God, he's so annoying. I'm so sorry. But, oh fuck, he made me forget what I was saying. What was I saying? I totally forgot. What was I saying?
You
Oh
were
my God.
talking about just having jobs that you didn't.
Yes. So, yeah, okay, got it. Okay. Shut up, London. I mean, Astro. So, yeah, I've lived that life of like just barely making it. And I feel truly in my heart, God was telling me, there's so much more out there for you, but you got to change your surroundings, sis. And
Mm.
for so long, I kept ignoring that shit. I kept staying at that toxic workplace. I kept hanging around the same bullshit friends who only wanted to party and drink and do a bunch of bullshit. I kept staying in those toxic relationships. And I truly believe that, like, God was like, all right, you're not going to listen. So now I'm going to fucking make you listen.
'Cause he
And,
will.
and he did. And it was in a way that I actually received the message, and it was in a way that I realized I almost died. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
for some people, me being one of them, like I needed that ground shaking, like wake the fuck up moment. And that's really how I call it, like my rebirth. I feel like I'm in my season of rebirth. I'm learning this new person that I am. I've been so used to being that old toxic low vibrational woman girl, really. And in these past almost 2 years, I have grown so much. But like we said before, it's probably the hardest and most exhausting journey I have been on, but also the most like, I'm so fucking grateful for it too. Like I
Mhm.
wouldn't change my circumstances for anything. I
Mhm.
wouldn't change that night. I would not want it to not happen. Because of that moment, it's who I am today. And it's what I've learned about myself in those seasons of darkness that we
Mhm.
experience. And that it comes with that growth mindset. I didn't feel that way when I was in it.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. I thought, holy fucking shit, is this really my life? I had that victim mentality. Oh my God, woe is me. Another one. This shit is happening again. But as you're on this journey, you start to see the shift, and it's like, okay, God, I understand. Now I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and like you said, sometimes, and I think it's all about learning how to trust your intuition and
Mm-hmm.
know that you have the discernment to make good judgment, right? And I'm walking into that as well. Like we be knowing.
Yes.
If one thing, and yes, I'm gonna call out Virgos again.
Yeah.
It's one thing about Virgos, like we be knowing stuff, right?
Yeah.
But we need full concrete evidence sometimes in
Absolutely.
our, like, smacked in our face. And it's like, sis, like, you knew this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you fucking knew you should have left, or you knew she was doing it, or you knew whatever it was. We
Yep.
be knowing, but we give it the benefit of the doubt sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
play around with it. Ain't playing with it no more. You feel
Okay.
me? Ain't playing with it no more. But if we won't move, God is going to do anything in his power to make us uncomfortable, right?
Absolutely.
To move us. And I literally was just having this conversation with one of my friends the other day. I was like, not only will he make us uncomfortable, but he will make it so we have to depend on him. Like, you shouldn't be going around, to each his own. No offense to nobody that do this, but you shouldn't be going around asking every single person on what you need to do, how you
Mm-hmm.
need to do it.
Yep.
It's okay to have those discussions with a selective few. I don't
Yeah.
think people realize the influence that things and words have on the subconscious mind.
Yep.
And, when you're trying to do things, but like, God will make you so uncomfortable, but that he's the only one that can give you the guidance and answers that you really need,
Yep.
you know? And,
Absolutely.
and that's why I be like, all right, God, all right, we back here again.
Yeah.
Hey, God, it's me
What
again.
lesson do I need to learn now, God? Okay, I'm gonna listen.
Like, I don't know what you're trying to show me. I think I do,
Right.
but can you make it a little bit more clear for me? And I always
Right.
tell people, listen, be careful what you ask for, because you gonna get it. Just
Okay.
have your eyes open, your ears open, listen.
Can can I tell you something? Because that literally just brought back a memory. The night that everything happened, 12 hours prior, oh my God, it's so crazy every time I talk about it. 12 hours prior, my car that I had in Florida, it died. Literally,
Mhm.
it died. It wasn't turning on. 2 weeks before, I had put in so much money fixing so many things, and it died. And I remember in that moment of frustration, I went on my phone and I went on Facebook and I wrote this post. I don't remember verbatim what it was, but I said something along the lines like, God, I'm so tired. Please remove this demon that's over my life, hovering over me, because I need a fucking break. Like, like I said, I got fired from my job. My car was fucked up. I was having relationship problems, all these things. And then 12 hours later, the whole night that changed my life happened. And when I escaped my apartment, literally, like I literally escaped half naked, wearing a robe, no shoes, no phone, no purse, got in that same car. Lo and behold, my ex was chasing after me. I closed the door and I locked it. I turned it on, and the fucking car turned on like it was a brand new car. There was no fucking issues.
That's
12 hours
crazy.
prior, I cranked that bitch and nothing happened. It was completely dead. And when I put the car in reverse and I looked back, my ex was like almost, if I wouldn't have locked the door, he would have pulled me out the car. And I was literally able to escape. And I say that because it's like, yo, I asked I asked for that. I told God, like, yo, I'm fucking tired. I need this demon literally in human form out of my life. And it fucking happened.
Hmm.
So like you said, be careful what you ask for, because God will make it happen, whether you're ready
Hmm.
for it or not.
Like, we don't determine the when, and
No.
we do not determine the how. Like,
Mm,
that's important. And if you want to ask, and I know this is big, and I'm not trying to get the preaching and stuff. If you go on, ask for the guidance, ask for the help, ask for the discernment, take your hands off of it, because he
mm.
can't work if you still got your hands on it and you
Yes.
still trying to meddle and stuff. Like, it don't
Yes.
work like that,
Be
because he
open
ain't
to
going.
receive it.
Yes, he's not going to do nothing until you surrender everything
Mm.
in that moment.
Come on, she preaching, y'all.
You feel me? I ain't, I said I wasn't gonna get in. That just sparked something in me, but
Yes,
I
it's
felt
so
like
true.
maybe that was something I needed to hear
Yeah,
again, or someone else listening needs to hear. A lot of times we're
absolutely.
going through these obstacles, and it seems like there is no way out. I had an old boss that I loved her to death, but then by the time I had quit the company, I hated her. Well,
Hmm.
I disliked her for some reasons. And one thing that she always told me was, Kita, there is always a solution to a problem. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like at this particular time, like it's not. Like things just always seem so freaking hard. And
Yeah.
here I go all these years later saying, no, there's always a solution to a problem.
Always.
The thing is, we don't always have all the answers all at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it takes time.
And
And what
sometimes we're our biggest fucking obstacle. Sometimes
we
we
are the
need to get
problem.
out of, yeah. I was the problem. Like sometimes you got to get out of your own fucking way and surrender, like you said, and accept that help and speak up and say, yo, I can't fucking do it by myself anymore. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Somebody
Listen,
needed to
like,
receive that.
listen, it's ooh. Okay, so like I was my like my mom's a single parent too, right? And I have a family of predominantly women,
Mhm.
strong, black, independent. You hear that? Strong,
Mhm.
independent women. So my grandmother, miss her to death,
Yeah.
6 kids on her own, you know, and she was very prideful. And I feel like her
Mhm.
children took on that same thing and it trickled down. Like my mom, in my upbringing from all of my family, I was raised to be strong. I was raised to not have these like certain emotions and all these different things. I was raised to
Yeah.
be strong though, because in everyone's mindset, being strong was going to help you overcome anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So within that being strong, you collect a lot of pride. You don't want to ask for help, you know, because why? I'm gonna look weak. I'm gonna look
Mm.
stupid. You know, here it is. I'm out here get people think I'm really getting it. I'm on the top of the world, but deep down inside, like I need help or I just need somebody to
Yes.
talk to. I'm telling you, cut that shit out. And I've been saying it for like the last year.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
need help, and I'm always saying, go to therapy. Go find you a
Mm.
nice, good therapist. I love my therapist to death, right?
Yes.
And I understand sometimes people have bad experiences with
Mhm.
therapists and things. You know, do your research, and sometimes it may take more than one. Go get you a nice little life coach or whatever. Um, but seek help. You know,
Yes.
because even though they say the answers are within ourselves, I wholeheartedly believe that
Mhm.
sometimes the answers we need are within other people that are waiting for us.
Mm. Come on. Absolutely.
Divine
Absolutely.
connection, divine timing. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So never feel like you have that much pride that you can't A, get yourself out of a experience or a situation that is harming you, and B, don't think that it's not somebody there. And I hate to hear people say, I don't have any I to each his own. I understand so everybody don't have like a large group of friends or like a supportive family,
All you
but
need is one. All you need is one. You don't need this
man.
huge fucking circle of people. Like, honestly, I'm all about like quality over quantity. As I've gotten older, like my social circle has diminished so drastically. And I'm
Hmm.
thankful for that because I have quality people and quality connections in my life. And I'm also building up the connection that I have with myself. Like I talked about that today on my Instagram. I put up a post. I put up a reel today when I went out on my little solo date, and I
Hmm.
put like the relationship that you have with yourself, it literally dictates the relationships that will come from the outside in. You understand what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So like you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You got to be your bestest friend. You got to be, you have to pour into you and love you so fucking much. And you set that standard for yourself. And
Hmm.
then that will dictate how people treat you. And I was so lacking in that, which is why I attracted those toxic ass partners. But now, yo, when I do decide to date, because right now that's not the season that I'm focused on right now. I'm still focused
Chilling.
on Leanne. I'm chilling. I'm good. I'm happy. I ain't got nobody's dusty ass son stressing me out. But no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You see, sometimes I
No,
revert
no,
back. I'm
no,
sorry.
no. Listen, that came from somewhere within. So
Okay.
like we received that.
Yes. You feel me? But I know that when I do decide to go back out there, I'm going to be such a different woman. And I know eventually I'm going to attract that right partner for me because I have been focusing so much on the relationship that I have with myself.
Mhm. Mm, I feel the same way. I really do. And
Yeah.
besides the dating scene looking a little intimidating somewhat, I'd rather stay to myself, continue to pour into myself, learn me, because I can't
Yes.
go out here and expect other people to learn me if I don't know me. Because
Come on.
we teach people how to treat us based upon
Absolutely.
how we treat ourselves.
Period.
And whether people want to acknowledge it or believe it, the thoughts we have about ourselves 9 times out of 10 is the same thoughts that people have about us.
I would say 10 times out of 10, sis.
I said 9 times because it's always that one.
Nah,
Well,
fuck
I
that.
don't.
You're in
Yeah,
denial then.
but it's the accountability thing
Yeah.
too.
Come on.
The work you put into yourself. It's one thing for a person to be like, "I deserve this. I deserve that." Okay, I'm with you. We all deserve the best, but it's also how you go about treating people too. You can't
Period.
treat people like shit and not expect people to not do the same to you. Now, I'm not saying
Facts.
that that's warranted. I heard something on TikTok because y'all know I be in them TikTok streets,
Yes.
and
Me
there is
too,
some
sis. They
what's
be wild
that?
sometimes.
Yes, it is some messy stuff going on in
Yes.
the TikTok world right now as we speak. And I heard it's insane. And it makes you think like, damn, I'm glad that my friend circle A is like the way it is.
Yes.
But this girl said something real as hell last night. She said, one way that you really know that you have healed, and I'm using the healed word, she said, because it's your response to situations. Because a healed version of you is not going to really go out here and really try to get my lick back.
Facts.
But the
Absolutely.
healed version of you is going to show up as the new you and shame and prove everybody wrong because people are already
Mhm.
expecting you to act a certain type of way. You feel me? They're
Absolutely.
expecting you to cuss
Absolutely.
them out. They're expecting you to be sad and depressed. But no, no, getting my lick back is me continuing to show up for myself, pour into myself, because at the end of the day, it's about me. It's me
Come
versus me,
on.
baby. This
Come
is
on.
what the Easter race say. This is me season.
Yes. Okay.
you know.
Literally the season that I'm in right now. And I know I cannot afford the distraction right now of adding a third party into my life. Like, I got my podcast, I got my daughter, I got my job, I got my fitness, I got all of the shit that I'm worried about. He'll come eventually, but right now that's not
And
even on my radar. I'll
you'll know when
know.
it's the right one.
Yes,
hmm
absolutely.
You'll know. Ooh, this conversation was so wonderful. And
Yes.
I know you said something and I was like, oh nah. But you said there is nothing about your journey that you would change. Cool. Because it
Nothing.
got you to the point where you're at. Okay,
Yep.
so if it's nothing that you would change, what is something that you would tell the young Leanne during that time you was going through all that?
I
Yeah, I
love this
got you.
question.
I got you
Yes.
because you, girl, let me tell y'all, if y'all ever meet Leanne or go on her show, when I tell you the questions she come with,
I come with it,
okay?
girl.
Yes. So sometimes this is me getting my lick back.
Yes. And I'm here for it, sis. I'm so here for it. Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that because it's funny. I asked all of my guests that question. I asked you that question on my podcast, and no one has ever asked me that. So thank you.
Mhm,
What would I say to the Leanne being the woman that I am today?
mhm,
First of all, I will give her the biggest fucking hug because that girl needed it.
mhm.
She was so sad, literally. Like, I listened to Mel Robbins' podcast the other day with Jay Shetty. Fucking love both of them. Oh my God, I'm manifesting having them
Listen,
both on my podcast one day.
Mel tells it how the fuck it
I
is.
fucking love Mel Robbins, yo. She is an incredible being.
Another good episode, and not to cut you off, another good
Hmm.
episode of Jay's podcast to listen to. I'm gonna find it and send it to you tonight. Is his episode with Lauren London, and I'm not just saying it
Oh,
because it's
yes,
Lauren
please.
London, but
No,
listen,
girl.
that had me on my toes. But
Yes,
Mel, I love Mel so much. I love
yes.
Jay too, but Mel
Mel,
tells it
she's
like
a
it
different
is.
breed. She's a different breed.
She's the reason I. She's the reason I give myself a high five in the mirror.
Yes, girl.
Literally.
Come on. I love her. Oh my God. Yes. You see, we right here, sis. You feel me?
Yes.
So yeah, I was listening to their podcast the other day and Jay had was talking about this exercise of like reflecting back on your childhood self and whatever age popped up for him it was age 13 and I thought about Leanne at 13 and she was just such a sad girl. She was so insecure. She had no confidence. She was rejected by boys that she thought was cute and was made fun of for her braces and her pimples and her glasses and just that really ugly duckling phase that we all go through. What I would tell her is like, some shit is going to happen and it's going to teach you that you really need to focus on loving yourself.
Mm.
Because if you don't, you're really going to have a very challenging adult life and you're going to attract people who don't have their best interest in you. And the most important relationship that you need to focus on is the one that you have with yourself.
Mm.
And I would tell her, like, it's going to be okay. You're going to cry. You're going to be sad. There's going to be moments where you're locking yourself in your room because you just don't want to deal with anybody and you don't want to feel those feelings. But once you get past that, there's such beauty and life afterwards. But you got to go through the hardship first to really learn about yourself. I don't
Mm.
tell her I love her and
Yes,
I'm
because
sorry
what are you apologizing to her for?
for not believing in herself and not feeling like she was enough because she's so much more. Oh my God, you gonna make me emotional. Stop
You
it.
are so much more though. See, we need those moments though. Like we
Yes.
need to reassure ourselves.
Mm,
And now when this episode come out, you can replay just that part over and
yes.
over and over.
Yes.
I'm gonna,
When
I'm
I
gonna,
have my sad girl days, I'll be like,
I'm gonna send you the soundbite of just that. Like,
yes.
here you go.
Yes. I'll be like, yo, sis, I'm going through it. Can you play that back one more time?
Yes, but and I'm pretty sure the young Leanne would have appreciated that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we used to do this activity when I worked at the psych hospital. We used to have the patients write letters either to their younger selves or their future selves. And it just gives you a different perspective of like where
Yeah.
you are now, but then also where you were. And
Hmm.
like if you lacked anything or whatever, from it makes you really think. You'd be like, damn, I would have never known.
Yep.
Self-love was not ever talked about. Yes, everyone said I love you, and all those
Right.
different things, but like no one ever told me I had to have a relationship with myself,
Hmm.
you know?
I never
So,
said I love you to myself growing up. Never,
mm-mm.
ever. Never looked in the mirror and said, damn, girl, you looking good today. Never fucking had that. Now it's like, okay, she's a bad bitch. She's out here. But there's
Yes.
also days that, I'm sad and I'm in my feelings. But, every single day I'm learning a little bit more about myself and I'm truly falling in love with myself. And I wouldn't regret anything that I've gone through because I'm loving who I am today.
Amen. And I always say it's not always flowers and sunshine. Like you're gonna have some good days, some really, really good days, and then like I said in the beginning of this episode, I just been feeling like blah.
Yeah.
You'll go through those moments and it's
Hmm.
okay. It is
Absolutely.
perfectly fine.
They don't
So
last forever.
they don't. And they don't have to. I'll say
Yes.
that because we can change that. And that
Absolutely.
is realizing the power that you have within yourself, as we
Hmm.
talked about, and you reclaiming your power.
Accountability, y'all.
Yes, you'll have
Yeah.
a whole accountability relationship. I be having my moment. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
hard. I be tweeting stuff. I'm like, let me go delete this
You're right.
because I mean, I told y'all if y'all follow me on
Yeah.
Twitter, like you'll get whatever. But you
Hmm.
you realize that, like, you know what? Why did I just say this? Let me go. And it
Yeah.
always helps to have people in your circle that hold you accountable for your fuck shit.
Yep.
If you
Absolutely. If you don't have at least one person in your life who's going to call you out on your shit, you need to reevaluate your circle. Period.
Yes. So this was a good conversation, and I really
Yes.
appreciate every aspect. I hate that it has to end. I don't
Yes.
know. We'll probably do more down the line.
Absolutely.
But for someone that is listening right now that is like struggling at a point in their life, whether they're trying to find their voice or step into their purpose, what is something that you want to leave them with, a message that you want to leave them with today?
Yes. I would say know that the darkness is not going to last forever.
Mhm.
Know that there is help out there. There are people who will see you and understand you if you just use your voice to tell one person, know that you can trust yourself. You can trust the feelings that are coming up for you. No, you're not crazy. No, you don't need to gaslight yourself and be like, am I being dramatic? Am I doing too much? You know what I'm saying? You don't need to question yourself. Honor those feelings, honor those moments that are coming up, and just know that, like, the minute that you say something and you start taking your thoughts and your feelings seriously, that's how you can start to change. And I encourage anyone, as scary as it is to put yourself out there, I'm not saying you need to start a podcast like me and you did, but like find whatever outlet works for you in order to get those feelings out. Us humans, we're so heady. We stay up in here and we just marinate and fester in the shit that comes up. How many thoughts does the average human have a day? Like fucking thousands, hundreds of thousands probably in a day. You need to find a way to release those feelings and those emotions, whether it's with your voice, journaling, speaking, writing, recording, painting, whatever the fuck. There's so many different avenues for you to get those thoughts and feelings out. Start doing that and start trusting yourself and listening to yourself, because you got this, sis. But it's not going to be easy. I promise you that.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for that. It's all about just, and within everything you said, it's all about finding your your true self.
Yeah.
And it sucks when you go through life-changing or life-altering situations and you're like, bro, man, this is not me. Like, I don't even know who
Yeah.
the hell I am in flesh. I gotta figure this out. But like you
Mhm.
said, you got this. Life
Yes.
goes on and you will definitely make it through. So just keep
Yes.
going.
Absolutely. It's a never-ending journey that I'm so happy to be on. And I'm gonna take the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all right. I got this. I'm gonna listen, God.
Yeah, we listening.
We listening.
We listening, promise you. All right. Can you tell everyone where they can find all of your lovely social medias and your podcast?
Yes. Thank you so much once again. This conversation has been so good. I could talk to you for like another 5 hours. You're fucking amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
Mm.
Yes, absolutely. So a few places, primarily on my Instagram, Watch Us Thrive podcast. I'm always on the stories. I know you be seeing, sis. I'm always going live. I'm always talking. I'm doing something. So follow me there. Slide in my DM. My DMs are always open and I'm very, very responsive. If you feel like, damn, I want to talk to her. I want to be her friend. Let's be friends. Okay. I love y'all.
Govern
Um,
yourself accordingly.
okay. Cause I do block very easily too. So don't try me.
Yes. Yes.
And then I'm also really focusing heavy this year on my YouTube channel. So all of my season 2 podcast episodes are going to be there. So follow Watch Us Thrive podcast under the same handle. I'm also on TikTok and Twitter. I'll send you all the episode show notes, all the links for your show notes
Mhm.
because it's too fucking much.
Yes.
And if, I have my website, wutpodcast.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter there. My newsletter is fucking lit. I'm not going to spam you. I only talk to you when I feel like it. Put your first name, your last name, and your email, and you'll get a welcome email. And then my podcast, it's called Watch Us Thrive. It's everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, wherever the fuck you want to listen to. Brand new episodes drop every Tuesday at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes I do solo bonus episodes on Fridays, but usually it's every Tuesday at 5 a.m. And that's where you can catch me.
Hey, yes, and like she said, I will have all of her information in the description box so you guys can go tap in with my good sis on her podcast and social
Yes.
media. Govern yourself accordingly. I always
Yes.
give that before. I'm like, listen, I mean, you can, I be real chill. If you follow me on Twitter, I
Right.
might get a different response because that's my real
Right.
page. But just, govern yourself
Right.
accordingly and make sure you
Right.
guys subscribe to her on YouTube and all of her social medias. And again, I thank you for this conversation and
Thank you.
your realness, your rawness, your vulnerability, all the knowledge and wisdom that you brought today.
Thank you.
Please continue to thrive. That's my new favorite word, thrive. I've
Yes.
realized I've been using that a lot lately. And I'm like, where did
Yeah,
I
I'm
get that
here for it.
from, Leanne?
Yes.
So please continue to thrive in your power
Thank
in
you.
your voice and out here, changing the game because
Yes,
like you said, we need, and other people need our platforms.
absolutely. And everything you see in me, I see in you tenfold. So thank you, sis. Keep killing
I'm trying, girl. I got.
it.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you guys for joining us back for a conversation. I hope this resonated with someone. If it didn't, like I always say, please, by all means, share it with someone that you may know that it may resonate with. Otherwise, go rewind it back, take some notes, learn something. But
Okay.
otherwise, all of our information as well, because, I don't be getting into all the follow stuff, but you know where you guys can find me. It will be in the description box. Come check your girl out. And peace out, y'all.
Bye.